Hey everybody, and welcome to Hairdresser Power. We have a really good one for you today. We've got a guy. We have so many ladies, and today we have a gentleman, and his name is Josh DeMarco, and he's at Hair DeMarco. Go see him. He's got some pretty good trending things going on right now, and we're lucky to have him. And I've seen what I kind of previewed what we're going to look at today, and I'm pretty impressed. Nice to meet you, Josh, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Nice to meet you also.
Yeah. You're over there in Philadelphia today. Pretty okay weather, you were saying, and you're not far from where they have the museum where the Rocky statue is, where they run up the stairs. That's right where you're living, right? Tell us about that a little.
So that is the art museum area. That's the Philadelphia Art Museum. It is the statue's at the bottom of the stairs, and the stairs are the really big tourist attraction that everybody loves to run up. I'm in South Philadelphia, so actually behind my head would be about 1 mile, the Rocky statue.
Great, and you're so close to work, where you work, that you can walk to work. In fact, you do, which is wonderful.
Yes, walking will get you anywhere in this city faster than driving.
Love it. That way you can eat a few cheesesteaks and walk them off, right?
A few cheesesteaks, some soft pretzels, some water ice. Yep.
There you go. Well, anyways, let's get into it right now. I mean, you've been doing hair for what, about 8 years now or more? How long have you been doing hair?
I graduated beauty school in January 2009, cosmetology
2009.
School. So, yeah, January 2009. So, yeah, going on 9 years, almost 9 years, 8 years, some change.
Well, I think your skill level for only being in here for 9 years is incredible. And I think that you're recognized for that because you are an educator for Wella. And you told me that you got on board, before the transition, and you actually tried out for that position. How was that? How did that all go? And why were you inspired to become an educator?
It's a good question. So before I ever did hair, I knew about a company called Sebastian. I remember seeing Sebastian ads by salons by my house. And I don't know, whatever it was, they'd have these big ads in windows of these salons. And it was just, I was a skater when I was like 13, 14, 15 years old. So I would see these girls that were beautiful, but they had like cool skater hair, not your typical what you would think was beautiful. So I knew about this company, Sebastian. So fast forward to me going to cosmetology school and coming out, the gentleman that I first started and worked for was a Sebastian educator, so he taught me a lot of ways that Sebastian had done hair. He was a special educator years earlier. And when I changed salons because my original salon had closed, I was given a great opportunity. Sebastian had come in because we were a Wella salon that just converted from Goldwell. And they asked me if I would like to maybe potentially be an educator. And it's funny because at first I didn't want to. I was like, why would I want to be an educator? I'm trying to build my book. And my boss, Joyce, great woman, just said, Josh, this is an amazing opportunity. Don't say no to the stuff like this. You should at least do it. So I did it, and I came on originally with Sebastian, tried out for them, and then they started cross-training us. So then it was Wella, Sebastian, and Axon because we're part of the family, the three family.
Exactly, yes.
So that was my introduction to being an educator, was coming on with Sebastian originally.
Wow, wonderful. And how many years ago was that now, Josh?
I came on 3 years ago, but I didn't, teach my first class until about 2 years ago.
Right on. How was that first class for you? Did you have a little nerves?
A little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Got through it though,
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, I still get nervous sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the first class was definitely nerve-wracking.
Well, you definitely want to do a good job, and that's a good sign that you care. The other thing, too, that I found, because I've been doing education for many, many years, in fact, one of my first salons very first salons I worked at was a Sebastian Grand Salon. And back in the days of Spritz Forte. This is back in the late 70s. So, yeah, I'm very familiar with that brand. Same thing with me. I remember the ads. They used to have this really interesting, back in the early 70s, and then they transitioned to the 80s where they did that fringe, kind of like a modified Farrah Fawcett type with the bangs and all, and I thought that was just such a cool look, and it still stands up today, as you know.
I mean, Sebastian has pioneered many of things most people don't know about. Yeah. I mean, the crimper, the first ammonia-free hair color, Potion 9, an actual workable hairspray that you could flip upside down and spray on stage. Yeah. And they still innovate, I mean, even with their new lines. So Sebastian's an awesome company, it really is.
Great, well, I'm glad it's working out for you. And then the thing is, so do you just have a geographic region that you generally work in, or do you travel all over doing education?
Usually you stay in your area,
Okay.
but I've been fortunate enough to meet people that book us, the education team and the sales team. So I actually get booked a lot in the Boston area.
Oh, okay.
Um, uh, I'd say Boston.
Oh, okay. That's great. So you do a little
Yeah,
traveling.
those areas.
Yeah, food's great over there. Fun. I know you get great food
Yeah,
in Philly, but
no,
yeah, I
I
think we're
definitely
breaking up a
I do a
little.
bunch of traveling too.
Just a second, Josh. So are we breaking up, Steven? Are we okay? Is it his end or we're okay? Okay. I just lost you for a minute. I'm back. Okay, we have a question already, Josh, before we get started. And the question is what inspired you to do hair and go to beauty school? Like, why hair? What was up with you with that?
I'm going to make this long story quick.
Okay.
Uh, Sebastian is what truly brought me into hair. That's what actually made me. I've always been into hair.
Okay.
I've noticed it. I've not in a million years, but I think I would have been a hairdresser. I went to college, studied communications, came out of college, worked for a company called Diesel, a clothing store.
Yep.
Didn't know what I wanted to do. And I met a man who owned a salon in Philadelphia, started talking to him. He told me I should come check out his salon. It turns out that was the biggest, baddest salon at the time. And he goes, "You should go to hair school." And it was really before around the recession. So I went to hair school because I remember reading an article that said that the beauty industry is recession proof because no matter what, people always need their hair done.
Pretty much.
And I had, and I had tattoos, and I was just like, I mean, I gotta. This sounds like an industry that would be really cool and accepting. And I've always just had an eye, like I've always appreciated hair.
Yeah.
That's what brought me into the industry. I ended up going to beauty school. Since I wasn't 18 years old, I wanted to be as fast as I could, and I mean, I didn't want to. I was working 7 days a week at the time. I still work 6, so it was just like I have to do as much as I can as fast as I can.
I love it.
In a nutshell.
I love the attitude, man. That's great. I'm glad you're in the industry, man. We need more like you, right? So thanks a lot.
You.
Yeah, I love it. I've had a similar story, but really I love it. So, okay, being the fact that you're now in the industry, you're a guy, you're building your clientele, now you're an educator, we have a lot of ladies come on. And I noticed that for you, you're all about, I mean, you talked about it earlier, on Instagram, videos are your thing right now. That's what's popping for you, right? Tell us a little bit about that, your feeling on that.
I think videos, when Instagram first launched video, I remember not liking it. And then I started seeing what people did with videos, because originally you only had 15 seconds. And I mean, people did the coolest videos at 15 seconds. So I'd say I've always liked videos. Music is a huge inspiration in my life. And honestly, any competition I do or any kind of idea I get for hair probably comes from something that I'm listening to. And I started knowing that if I'm going to make a video, I could put this music to the video that just is such a cool, in my head anyway, such a cool concept. To go on like a little tangent, it's funny because somebody was asking me the other day, they said, "I love your videos, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "How do you like the music in them?" And they go, "Oh, I didn't even know they had music." Because I guess you have to hit it twice.
It's just part of it. It's integrated. That's awesome.
So if you watch my videos, I mean, the music hits at specific points. My scissors might be opening and closing. I might be doing a razor push, but I mean, I don't know. It speaks to me. So I think I can't be alone. And like anything else in life, people get bored of the same thing. So if Instagram's going to show pictures, there's going to come a point where it has to evolve. And I think videos are great. I think you can catch people's attention and show creativity a lot more than you could in a picture.
Now, you had one of your videos that went super viral in the millions, multiple millions. Tell us about that.
So one of my clients, the girl is from Belgium, and she 150% has an insanely crazy haircut. But it's a super cool haircut. I've always loved people that just rocked crazy hair that nobody else would rock.
And pull it off,
especially
right?
If they can, and pulling it off.
Oh,
exactly.
see, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And so this girl had this awesome haircut, came to me with a version of the haircut. So I give her this great haircut, and I made a video of it because I know that people aren't cutting hair like this in salons, because I've never cut hair like this in a salon. So I made a video, and I guess for whatever reason, whether you're a hairdresser or not, I think people just loved or did not love the fact that I'm taking a pair of scissors to a girl's head.
Stop for a sec, Josh. Did not love? Explain what that means. I know what it means, but I want you to tell the folks. Go ahead.
The hairdressers that I know that saw the video appreciated the precision part of it and the maybe creativity. And the 9 million other people that saw it that don't do hair just thought it was the worst thing they've ever
And
seen in their
literally
life.
like 9 million. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
probably
were
more.
talking, we're gonna make a little hashtag, and the hashtag's gonna be a little thing that says Haterade, and we're gonna send it to them every time, right?
Every time.
They need
Our
it.
thumbs will get sore.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much your thumb would fall off at that point. Well, speaking of people listening to you, we got another one here. It is, do you do your own video editing with the music, and what do you use? I'm gonna ask, and what do you use for editing?
Yeah, so I do everything myself. I use iMovie.
Okay.
It's the best thing for me because I like the reverse videos or certain. I can see the video in my head, so I already know that if I'm going to do something when I'm actually doing the video, I know that I can maybe potentially reverse that. There's tons of apps, but when you start compressing videos, they lose their quality. So I usually upload it to my computer and do it on iMovie. But the way I do my videos, a girl I work with, Matilda, who I can't give enough credit to, she films them. I put her in compromising positions, anything for the right angle. And she films them and sends me, on my phone, I have all the footage. And then I'll just look at the footage and say, how can I make this little 5-second clip look way cooler?
So now, are you shooting on an iPhone? Are you shooting everything on an iPhone? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Right on. So that's why you're using editing.
People ask that all the time. I'm 100% iPhone. The best thing about the iPhone is if you have the proper lighting, which we do, it takes phenomenal pictures.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of good work done on that. Yeah, all our editing stuff here, we had a show and everything. We do everything on Mac, and it's really good, great for video. I really love it. So good, that's awesome.
Great.
So you've got the eye, man. You definitely have the eye. Okay, speaking of having the eye, today we have some of your work that we want to talk about. And I think we have about 7 today to look at. So I want to put them up, talk about them. If you guys have any questions out there, if you feel free to ask. So let's do the first one, Josh. Oh, wow, this is incredible. So tell us about the lady. Is she one of your clients? And what was your inspiration for this?
All right, so this is a good one. So that is Jade Anna. She is the lead singer of a cool punk band in Philadelphia called The Posers.
Right on.
And so Jade Anna, I had to do a look and learn, and I was scrambling to find a model. So my whole belief is if somebody's going to come watch me cut hair, I don't want to sit there and do a layered haircut. I got to do something that's going to be super cool and creative and something that's wearable and that they could actually learn something from. So I reached out to a friend that I had done a class at that owns a salon, and she was like, hey, I'll put it on my Facebook. Now, this girl I reached out to definitely has the look, because where I work in Philadelphia, unfortunately, we don't get girls as cool as Jade Anna. They're not like in Center City in my area. So this girl was from an area called, her friend has a salon in this area called Fishtown. Anyway, long story short, she ends up getting me this girl to do a look and learn. And I instantly saw her. I am a huge fan, was obsessed last year with this connection right here. I love old Sassoon haircuts.
Yes.
And that's my version of a Chelsea haircut.
Yes, straight up.
The top of that haircut is pure Sebastian inspired. That's when I was doing a lot of like heavy texture with point cutting, and I blunt cut and point cut. And she already had those long sides. And when I met her, and before I did her color, she said, the only thing I ask of you is if we can keep my sides. And I was like, well, you're perfect, because we weren't going to cut them anyway.
Yeah, the tendrils. They look
tendrils.
great. Yeah, the tendrils, yeah. And then that's kind of a version of what they were doing a long time ago, you remember, the ski top. I don't know if you remember that. It's a while back. That was really popular. Yeah, I love that, man. I like you threw in the old school, man. Very cool. Really cool.
Well, and the thing about her, the one thing I truly thought, because I watched her perform on stage before, like when I first knew that she was going to be my model. And I don't know if you have your video on me right now, but
I have it
she
on.
would always do stuff.
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
She would always do this on stage. So I said, if she's going to do that on stage while she's singing, what's going to look cool?
Make it work, right?
Hence heavy text at the top. Yeah.
I love it. Hey, so let me ask you another question. I noticed that you told me that you were doing a look and learn. Do you do shadowing for people? Are you available for that? Can they come like work with you for the day?
I do. I do. If you are a Wella Salon or Sebastian Salon, you could book me. I teach everything that Wella would have a curriculum, and I also on the side do cutting.
Okay.
There's a big demand for haircutting, which is great. So there's a couple people, there's a few salons that will book me privately. I also cut for a company called Mizutani, they're a scissor company.
Mhm.
So I do look and learns with them. And I also have a couple that I'm doing with some distributors in the local area.
Wonderful. Hey, what's the best way to get a hold of you if you're interested in doing that? What's the best way? What do you like?
If you go to my Instagram, there's a direct link. You can just hit the button and my email address is right on it.
All right, man, that's great.
It brings you right to my
I love it.
email.
Hey, can I ask you a question on that color there? Did you do that color on the previous girl? Did you do her color?
I did.
Okay. What level?
Yeah. So pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So pretty much every single haircut you see, like I've done the color.
Okay. So where did she start out? Was she pretty dark hair, like level 3 or something, or where was she starting out with that hair? Her natural level.
No. So yeah, her natural is definitely probably about a level 4.
Okay.
She came to me. Her friend was doing her hair in hair school. Her friend was in beauty school.
Okay.
And it was pretty orange. So
yeah.
that was a pretty simple 10 volume, got her semi-neutral, and I used well Illumina 960 to kind of make that to, I'm sorry, not 960, 1036. But anyway,
Yeah, and you told her
and then just to color it. But
Yeah.
now when she comes into me, she actually has, because if you do go on my Instagram after this interview, I do her a lot.
Okay.
She has her head, one side's black, one side's blonde, and then she does the whole thing blue. We do different stuff all the time, but if you're asking what I use 20 volume always. I don't put
Yeah.
anything higher than 20 volume on their hair.
Yeah.
And if I have to go back in twice, I go back in twice.
Slow and low. Got it. Yep. And is she kind of like one of your muses, you know, because she'll let you do just about anything?
Anything.
That's
So,
great.
what do you want to do to your hair? You tell me.
Now you got her trust, so you're in. And that's such a good thing to have that. That's wonderful. What do we have next, Stephen? Wow. Love this. So is this another one of your clients, or is this just a model you had come in?
So you had mentioned muse in your last sentence. If anyone's my muse, it's Rachel, this girl right here.
Okay.
Rachel was actually my wife's intern, and my wife actually had the eye for her, told me I should do her hair. I ended up meeting her, and she's incredible. This girl, actually a couple other pictures you picked that we're going to get to is actually her too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I can point that out. Yeah, so she's another one of those girls that does not care what you do to their hair. I mean, just does not care. She's down for whatever when it comes to
And she
her
can
hair.
pull it off, it looks like. So there you go. And she has the right attitude.
She definitely has the right attitude.
Yeah, so now I wanted to ask you a question. So you got some good models, you got some good people you can work with. So when you're taking the photos, tell me the process there. Do you do natural light? Do you do a ring flash? Do you have a special place? Do you do, optional lighting motifs? What do you like to do?
All right, so normally now we have a ring light. So I just do a heavy ring light, and then it's in the back of our salon, and we also have a white wall.
Okay.
I like very clean work. I don't like a lot going on in the background. So the back wall is also fully glass, so you get natural light and the ring light.
Okay.
I always tell people the best lighting you need for hair color is 55K. It's a Kelvin scale, 5,500 temperature.
Yep.
Most ring lights are that anyway. That's the perfect lighting for it. And that last picture, though, with Rachel, that was actually a professional photographer in Philadelphia.
Okay. All right.
Who used a lot better lighting than that.
So studio setting. Okay. Absolutely.
Yes, that was. Yep.
Right on. Well, that's good advice. So basically, just on the fly, you like using a ring light, bottom line, in the salon on the fly. Sort of, maybe?
I prefer if you could take them outside, because sometimes the ring light distorts the color. But yeah, if it's on the salon on the fly and it's a haircut, 100% ring light.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people are moving away from ring lights. That was really popular for a while. They're moving away from a really busy background, going to either a gray or a white background, cleaner, and throwing in some natural light. I've noticed that pretty much, because I do this like 2-3 times a week, have interviews with people that are trending, and I see that trend happening right now. And you would agree with that?
Definitely. I mean, a lot of lights that I see, the ring light makes it a different color. It casts a giant shadow. You get the reflection in their eyeball. It could look cool, but sometimes it doesn't.
So be careful, really look at your work, and make sure it's what you want it to be, right?
Definitely. Be very careful. Look at your work for sure.
Yeah, big time. Let's see. We have another question that says, when your clients are open to almost anything, where do you pull your inspiration from at that moment?
So if you go back to that picture of Rachel,
Going back to that picture, Stephen, if you could. Yeah, go ahead.
remember I said last year I was really into those disconnected side pieces.
Yes.
So she has them too. That one was Wella had just brought out their color line that we were playing with called Illumina and Innocence, and I mixed them both together. That she was our model for a class that we did that was called Triple Craft, which is color cutting and styling, and I wanted to do a really heavy fringe on her, and I was really into denim colored hair last year, like just trying to do it. And these were colors that I never experimented with. So my inspiration for this was to show a heavy texture, to have movement on her little side bits, and just really, her makeup was so pretty, and her lips are just great, and her septum, and I just thought the hair in her face would have looked really cool, and I just wanted to show like a heavy texture.
Yeah, it's a great picture. Good job, man. Very
Thank you.
creative. Well, let's see what we
Thank
have
you.
next, guys. What do we have next, Stephen? Okay, so here's some cutting technique. See, when I said to you a little earlier, I consider you a precision or have the ability to do geometric cutting. You said, well, I don't consider myself, but I do. But that's what I noticed right off the bat. So talk to us about this.
All right, so this was another model that we did at the Wella studio. She actually came in. I think I might actually have her before picture on my Instagram. If you guys want to go back, whoever's watching this, and check it out later. She had very, very, very boring, long, lifeless hair, and she told me I could go above the shoulder, but not too much higher than the shoulder. So I teach something called cut craft. It's our cutting methodology with Wella, and this was a pure example of a class that we did with cut craft. And my job was to give this woman a line. And I always said this, my dad used to always tell me, if you're going to do something, do it the best you can do it. So if I do a line and I'm going to post a picture of a line, like I'm going to do a line.
That's right.
And that's what I set out to do. We didn't do any color on her. That was her natural color. I have a few pictures of her actually. I post everything on my Instagram in series of 3s. So if you see that, you'll see 2 other ones, a full back shot. Really, that's a triangular line. That's all it is. And
it's nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we got to make sure that people realize that, hey, that comes back, you got to know how to cut it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the saying that I love the best that somebody told me once was the greatest coloring tool on the planet is a pair of scissors.
Right.
So a lot of people are going to the color route, which is awesome. You need color, but they're not even attempting hair cutting. And a great haircut complements a great color and vice versa.
It sure does. It's kind of a synergistic relationship between the hair and the color, and how it flows, how it moves, how it responds to different lighting situations, and how the customer is able to maintain it and to wear and style it. That's very important. People think it's just about that day, that picture. No, it's about every day. That's a walking billboard. I had the opportunity to hang out with Vidal Sassoon a lot of times when I was younger, eat breakfast with him a lot, and bottom line, he always talked about that. Hey man, it's about your advertisement, which is your clients walking around looking good all the time so that they're promoting you. And he's right. If you don't look good, we don't look good, right?
I was just going to say that.
Hey, I got you, man. So yeah, great minds think alike. What am I going to say? So what do you got next, Stephen? Oh yeah, I like it. See, this is just sweet. I love, I fringe, bang, whatever you want to call it. The way you did it is so good. Your transition point right there in the corner, excellent. I just love it. So tell us about this cut.
Again, this is great. You guys are all picking cuts from this. This is another cut craft course that we were doing. So we teach classes on just fringes, on just cutting fringes. And I say fringe because my mentor, a man named Stephen Moody, who's taught me pretty much everything there is about haircutting. He's British, so they always say, we're not going to bang you. We're going to give you a fringe.
Yeah, because, banging means something different in England than it does here.
Way different.
Yeah.
So this was, we had this model. I had worked with the colorist who did the color, and this model's, our job at this class was, Stephen said, make her fringe as perfect as you could make it. So, if you notice in the top corner, I'm not a big fan of the rounded out fringe. I like when they hit the hairline. It's just again, this girl, there's a few pictures and videos of her back on my feed. If there's a video I did of her head on, and she has the most beautiful cheekbones.
Yeah.
And I opened her face all the way up, so right where those corners hit goes right into her cheekbone.
Yeah, I noticed that. I
And
loved
yeah,
it. That's the first thing I noticed. I love the transition. The other thing I noticed is you're creating a bridge right there with your other hand just to stabilize yourself. Tell us about that technique.
so my hand holding the scissor. So those are I cut with Mizutani scissors,
Hmm.
and the thing I love about them is they make thumb loops. The way I don't ever hold my scissors where my wrist bend particularly. I keep my wrist straight, so I use my thumbs on the outside of the thumb hole a lot. Uh, so what I'm doing there is my ring finger is supporting me because I'm cutting a line.
Hmm.
So I need stabilization, and I kind of curve them. So when I'm cutting, my thumb's not in the hole. My third finger in actually moves the back blade, and my thumb on the outside. It probably doesn't make sense me saying it, but if you see it, it makes your scissor parallel to the hair,
Right.
so you cut an actual perfect line.
Well,
You
when
don't
you're
undercut it.
when your blade, you're leading. Your stable blade is creating the line, and then you're cutting with your following blade. Correct? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
that's one of the things. I've old school Fidel Sassoon, everything since the 70s, Gene Shakov, everybody, assisting for him and everything. One of the things is and it's funny when I tell people about how scissors work and how you stabilize one blade and cut it with the other, like, oh, really? I thought you just go like this. It's funny, a lot of that's been lost, and it's wonderful to see that you're teaching the right way. I really
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yeah. 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 We don't do Cookie Monster cut.
Yes, no Cookie Pac-Man, cha, right? No, pushes the hair. We don't like that. So we
Yeah.
have another
Exactly.
question here, and it's what are your favorite shears right now? Okay, appropriate, right? And do you love the swivel thumb shears? So it's two questions.
So, well, I cut with scissors because you shear sheep.
Hmm.
I'm joking. No, I'm joking. My favorite shears,
I'm
my
going to use
favorite
that one just so
scissors.
you know. I'm going to steal that joke from you. That's good.
Hey, that's also taken from someone else over
Yeah.
that. But
Okay. Well, yeah.
no, my favorite scissor, they're Mizutani. They're
Okay.
handmade in Japan. They're works of art. They're amazing. They cut phenomenal. They have so many different options, and I do not use a swivel thumb because when I cut, my thumb is integral to the way I cut, the way I bend my thumb. So the swivel, I physically can't cut with it. And I also try to show you with my scissors. I flick them backwards so the blade goes this way.
Okay.
So you can't do that with a swivel.
Okay.
Like
Makes a
when
lot
I
of
hold them,
sense.
I don't palm them. I flip them back.
Okay. So with your scissors that you use, what length do you like to use generally? And do you use different lengths? And do you use different, for example, there's some that are now textured blades, so they don't push. There's a lot of different options there. What do you like to do as far as scissors go, length and everything?
All right, so if I'm doing any sort of graduation, I'm going to use a 5 or 5.5 inch solely because if I'm going to get tight into the back of their nape, I definitely have to have a small scissor.
Okay.
If I'm doing any line work, pretty much anything above the shoulder, I'm using the 5 or 5.5 inch. If I'm doing a long layered haircut, the largest I have is a 6.5. If I'm going to do like deep point cutting on dry hair, that's my go-to. But so I have 5.5, and 6.5. I just don't have a
What
6.
about when you're doing like an A line or something? What do you like to do? When you're doing
Five,
a
5.5.
5.5. So you're into
Five,
dropping a lot of sections down, right? I mean, is that where you're at?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. When you
Not,
need
not,
if you
not,
do.
not, not, not over amount, but yeah, we're not
Okay.
doing 3-section haircuts.
Okay. Got
Definitely,
you. Okay.
yeah.
More Sassoon inspired. Got it. Okay. Very good. What's the next picture we have, Stephen? There you go. Another one, right? A nice line here. Tell us about what's going on here.
So again, this was actually, I wish somebody took a picture of how we had to take this picture. This was again the Matilda that I brought up earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and I've shot so many bobs. If you look on my page, I have every imaginable angle of a bob. And the one thing I always wanted to get was a really sharp line,
Mm-hmm.
which was where my comb is holding it. And again, the outer longer side of the A line, I always wanted to get a really sharp line there, but see it at the same kind of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of shot this from underneath, coming where my phone was. She was holding a light, and we just shot underneath, so you could just see the full. This is just a line; it's not graduated. That bevel is just where I placed the weight, and that was really it. And I was inspired. I mean, if you know anything about old haircuts, that's a total Sassoon,
Oh
very
yeah,
famous
absolutely,
picture.
absolutely. absolutely. So now was that an asymmetrical cut? Because I couldn't tell from the side.
That's a great question. The way it hangs right there, it's asymmetrical, but it's such a deep side part that her short side, which is her weak side, drops down at the arch of her eyebrow. When you push her hair on the long side across to drop down the other length of the eyebrow, it's fully symmetrical.
Okay.
But technically, the way it swings, it's asymmetrical.
Yeah, it's very cool. I like that. That's nice that you've been able to work that based on the eye part, because then you can balance it out and then you get that option, obviously. Because I mean, once you cut it, she's going to style it that way every time, obviously, with that cut. But it gives you that visual difference, which I love.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good. Good technique. Like it. What do you have next, Stephen? Oh, man, I love this.
So that's the same girl that had the heavy fringe in the front of her face.
Yeah, she's cool. She's cool looking, yes.
She's very cool. So that again is Rachel. So that is Trend Vision, which as well as big color competition, color styling competition. And I won that with her as my model. That picture we won for regionals for Creative Vision.
Sure.
So that was last year, and we had inspiration. So they gave us, so Trend Vision, they give you a color and an inspiration. That one happened to be like nature and rocks and minerals. And the green in her hair was so freaking hard to make because I wanted to make the color patina.
Oh,
and if you don't know what patina is, it's when copper
oxidizes. Yep, absolutely. Yep, and that was, if you would look at the Statue of Liberty, for example, back in the day, it had a patina on it. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. So that was my full goal on that. That cut was it was actually, I did a full undercut fringe so the green would kind of pop out. Yeah. Again, I was into those disconnected bits, and if you look in the back, they come out the back, actually.
Yeah, they see some little on the corner. Cool. Yep. Yeah,
and then then the makeup was my wife. My wife just is the freaking amazing makeup
Great
artist.
job. I like her arching on her eyebrows. Everything's wonderful. I think it's really great. It's almost like hopefully you take this the right way, but it's like a really kind of futuristic figure skater look. Do you know what I'm saying? Like she could be in the ice show, but it's in the future, and like in 2025 or something. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what I felt, right? Because I kind of, when pictures make you feel or think something, or styles, that's when you've, I think, really knocked it out of the park. So, and I think you know that, because obviously, yeah.
That one Creative Vision. So that was a cool one for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that was Rachel again.
Good job, man. I love it. Do we have anything else, guys? Ooh, hello. This is gorgeous. Just love this.
Thank you.
Tell me about this one.
So that was actually just nominated for the Haircut of the Year by Behind the Chair for the One Shot Awards.
I see why.
Yeah, thanks. So that is one thing that always makes me laugh is whenever someone comes to the salon and they just want a haircut, and so this girl, for example, has a black bob.
Sure.
You say, what's better than a black bob? A shiny black bob.
Yeah.
So we did a clear conditioning treatment on her. She loves really precise lines. So that's shot with a ring light, and you can see the ring reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually something that I learned. I took a bottle of shine spray, and right on the bottom where you see the arc and on the top, I sprayed probably for 30 seconds back and forth on that area so the light would really reflect off of it. And that was a really just sharp line. Point cut with my scissors. That probably took me a good 10 minutes of chipping away on my refinement to get it that sharp.
Oh yeah.
And again, these are my clients. So everyone asks me if I ever run behind. This is why I run behind all day.
Yeah.
Because
you're obsessed.
I'm
Yeah,
obsessed.
you're obsessed. That's good. That's who I want cutting my hair. Somebody who actually cares that much to be obsessed. Yeah. Good job, man. I love it. Nice technique.
Thank you.
I can tell you love what you do. Let's see. Do you do any rainbow or vivid colors? That's the question right here.
I do.
Okay.
I have a bunch of them on my Instagram also. I do a lot of vivids. Again, the thing is, I work in an area they love Kardashian hair. It's a nice area. They want long layers. Every once in a while, you'll get like a really cool, funky girl.
Sure.
But I do have another girl that's on my page a lot also that she's done a bunch of vivid colors.
Okay.
And again, I'm just lucky. I find these girls
Yeah.
that are down for me to do whatever. But for, as far as my clientele goes, no, I don't do a lot of vivid
Well, and
colors.
then, bottom line, because you're an honest guy, and we talked about it earlier, your bread and butter is gray coverage, right? I mean, bottom line.
It is.
Honestly, everybody who's pretty successful, it's all about gray coverage. But we also love the creativity, we love the outlet, and it's great for Instagram, right?
It's great for Instagram, and I never really early on. This is some of the best advice I ever got.
Okay.
I never wanted to get burnt out, and I was told that you can get burnt out in this industry really easy, and I've seen people get burnt out a lot, and I knew that if I did the same thing every day at work, it was going to burn me out. That's any job you do.
That's true.
So for me, getting into education was great because not only did it not burn me out, I got to give so much back to other people
Absolutely.
that wanted to learn. So that made me not get burned out. But my biggest thing that I could tell people is if you're feeling bored, go down. I go to the art schools in Philadelphia. Find the girls outside smoking cigarettes that have cool hair, but it's just not good cool hair, and make it good.
Absolutely.
And the reason it's not good is because they're probably doing it themselves, and they're gonna let you. Hey, can I do your hair for free? Yeah, of course you can.
Of course you can. Absolutely. And it's fun. Get your energy flowing again, and inspires you, right?
For sure. And I've done a lot of free hair. I still do a lot of free hair, but that's for me personally, and for me to keep my creativity going.
Good job. Good advice. A lot of people give that advice. It's just you don't want to do free hair all the time, but when it's appropriate,
No, behind the chair, I don't do free hair.
Oh, hell no.
Not.
And don't discount. Remember that. I always say that. For sure. Add value, don't discount. What is your favorite past hair trend, okay? And what do you see the next upcoming hair trend to be? So past, what's your favorite? What do you see in the future?
All right, so by far, I mean, you can see it in my work. I love classic haircuts. I love classic anything. It doesn't go out of style. I love, again, one of my favorite haircuts ever was the Chelsea cut. So I just like a newer version of a Chelsea cut and a bob. I mean, the bob is just such an amazing haircut. There's so many versions of it.
Yes.
If it's done right, it can make you turn your neck and break your neck. If it's done wrong, it's, we know what it looks like.
Yeah,
so
what happened to that girl?
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really classic, clean haircuts. And I just had a conversation with somebody about this. And again, who can predict the future? But I think where the industry's going is going to be back to haircutting. I think it's this bleach and tone is around to stay, which is fine, but you have to be able to cut hair. And I think, I think that it's going to go back to really good haircuts. The loose wave might always be around, but who knows? Solid haircutting. It's your foundation.
I agree. And the thing is, some people aren't ready for that yet, and they need to start saying, hey, how can I educate myself? How can I get ready for that? Because cutting hair is definitely going to come back. It always does. So just this long layer that you hit with a curling iron, like I'm saying, I mean, it makes you money. It's a trend right now, but we always need to learn how to cut hair properly. And I'm glad that you do.
Thank you. You need to have your foundation. I mean, once you have your foundation, you're set. And a lot of people don't have a foundation.
Not at all. Not at all. So I know we have one more that we talked about a little earlier, and you corrected me, and I said, oh yeah, because back in the 70s or 80s, we used to just take that V section, take our clippers, and said, Patrick, I don't use my clippers. I use my scissors. So tell us what you did in this cut. I really like it, by the way.
All right. So I'm going to preface that by saying I have no problem with clippers. I clipper cut a lot on men.
Okay.
When it comes to women, I usually, unless they want to shave the sides bald, I love scissor over comb. Scissor over comb and graduation are my favorite things to do. They're actually like therapeutic for me. So
yeah, they are.
Has a.
You're right.
So she has a. They are right. So scissor over comb. I took that up to her occipital bone. Okay. And if I do an undercut, it's with a purpose. And the purpose with that is she's actually a girl we work with. And she has a lot of hair. So I wanted to undercut it to kind of collapse her shape and make her line look a lot stronger, not so bulky. So I scissor over comb the triangular shape underneath it. And again, in my head, I envisioned that little triangle poking out.
Hmm.
So I arced the line and I put that line in, then refined it, and that color. I mean, I can't take credit for that color. That was actually my boss, Jason. He just killed that color.
Killed it. I mean, everything's beautiful on that. Just the subtlety of the triangle section below, the way you got the arch right into the center of it, and how you transitioned into the front, just gorgeous, man. That's some beautiful work right there. And
Thank
you
you.
even worked with her uneven shoulder. I mean, you know that her neck's a little off, you know that. So your cut actually even accounted for that, which is amazing.
Thank you. I'll tell you right now, all their necks are off.
Yep, I know.
They're off. But the funny thing about this is somebody was asking me how I shot that. That's against a black door in our salon, and I just held up a flashlight and shot that because I'm
Yeah.
like, if I put silver on white, I'm going to lose
Yeah.
it, so it's going to look good on black.
Okay, I want to ask you a personal question on silver because, you know, I have people coming here all the time. The rainbow specialists come in here from Pulp Bride, everything, and I sit here and they interview in Salon. And a lot of them are like, I don't want to do silver because it just doesn't work and it turns green one shampoo after. What is your opinion on silver? I know it looks beautiful in pictures.
Well, silver's amazing. I don't do enough hair, to be honest, to have an opinion on silver.
Okay.
My opinion is if the Pulp Riot people are saying they don't want to do it, then I would listen to the Pulp Riot people because they know a lot more about that than I do.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people say silver's so awesome, but it's just not where they want their stamp out there, you know, walking around, where it's too hard to maintain. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, I disagree. I love silver.
I love silver too.
I mean,
it's just they say they
and
just
that,
can't get it to hold.
again, so that actual bob that lasted a good amount of time.
Okay.
I know that a little trick that a lot of people do for their silver is they add a drop of 2N into it.
Yeah. Yeah, we recommend that absolutely, yes. It does hold longer. And it fades out kind of not as metallic-y silver, but it kind of holds the silver appearance. But it goes to kind of like a smoky gray, which is still really pretty.
Right. I mean, I'm sure that you have to do a lot of work to do a proper silver, and that's probably why they don't like to do it because you do all that work and it probably lasts a week.
Yeah, and then they got to guarantee their work, and after a week they're like, hey, it didn't hold, and they get a little frustrated. So yeah, but
Exactly.
beautiful for the picture, beautiful cut, really loved it. And I have another question for you here, and it was, how long does it usually take you to do a woman's haircut in general?
As much time as I have. No,
What do you book? What do you book for? What do you book for on your books for a woman's cut?
For women, I'm booked every hour.
Okay, so hour is your goal.
Hour is my goal. If I have an hour and a half, I'll work on it for an hour and a half. But an hour is my goal. But see, the thing with me, I cut my shape pretty fast. I can cut my shape in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
It takes me a good 30 minutes to do a proper blow dry.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you right now, I do not use a round brush in any of those haircuts. I flat wrap every single one of them. And flat wrapping is not a 5-minute blow dry.
No.
And to get that to lay properly and to actually check my haircut, the most time I'm spending on my haircut is probably in the blow dry and the finish.
Okay.
So and then
So are you using do you just use a Denman when you're? Is that what you?
I use a vest, which is has a bevel, but yeah, Denman or vest for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
No elevation on
flat
these
wrap. No
haircuts.
elevation. Okay, got it.
Flat
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know.
And,
Hey, that's your technique. I want to know that stuff. That's good because you're producing some pretty good work. So obviously, if we share that with people, it's something they might want to learn from you or that they can experiment with on themselves because that's not the standard right now. Everybody's hitting it with a round brush and you know what's going on.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't knock anybody, but these haircuts, there's no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. They're very technical haircuts. I wasn't born to cut hair this way. I just worked my ass off and learned how to do them, and that's the difference. I mean, if you want to do a 15-minute haircut, I teach at salons all the time, and they say we book a half hour. I mean, I don't even know how you can physically do a haircut and blow dry in a half hour. But if they can do it, that's great for them. But the type of haircuts I'm doing, an hour, because I need at least 10 minutes to refine it. So if I can do a 30-minute blow dry, 10-minute refinement, 15, 20-minute shape, I'm good.
What about growth patterns and things like that? Do you incorporate that into your blow dries and into your cut? How do you generally approach that? Heavy growth patterns.
Well, I mean, that's a great question because growth patterns are the number one thing that people that don't know how to cut hair do not know how to control or to take care of.
Absolutely.
And again, I was talking to the man who's taught me everything, Steven, about this, Moody, and he's like, people today, they don't know how to do a proper color correction. They don't know how to fix the cowlick. This is what we have to teach them. There's no, we're better than you. It's how can we make you better? So
Yes.
growth patterns are a huge part of what I do. A lot of the reasons that I do the triangular undercuts is because they have such bad twirls right
Yep.
here.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And so the only reason they get rid of that, I mean, I see people that cut it and it's a centimeter long. Well, why not just cut it out? It's going to make your life easier.
Absolutely.
It's going to make their life easier, and it's going to make your haircut lay properly. So I deal with growth patterns a lot that way. Don't cut them too short.
Yep.
I mean, again, these are things you have to train over.
Mm-hmm.
But they're that simply.
Well, that's how I grew up.
You
So,
definitely have to address them.
it's just like, I don't even ask these kind of questions in most of my interviews because it would embarrass the person. But I feel like you're the kind of guy that's got the knowledge and you've got somebody old school that has taught you and you understand that. And you don't understand. For me, this is wonderful. I love the fact that I could ask you about growth patterns and you know what they are. Because, nowadays, people don't even know what that means when you say that. They have no idea. So thanks for being smart.
They don't, but we're going to teach them that.
Absolutely. I feel don't complain. In my opinion, don't complain. Let's make a solution. Because if we sit around and complain, it's not going to get itself done, is it? We've got to work hard. We got to bust our ass sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, everyone busts their ass. I mean, everyone does. That gets to where they're going. So yeah, you have to bust your ass. Don't complain.
Yeah, sorry. Just got to do it. I got another question for you. It says, do you do a lot of dry cutting for that perfect finish look? So are you blow drying, getting most of the moisture out, and then finishing dry?
Yep. So I do. I used to make myself mental trying to get the perfect line on wet hair. And then I would blow dry the hair, and it was so not the perfect line. And I realized pretty quickly that you physically cannot blow dry hair at the same tension throughout a whole entire head. Mm-hmm. So you're never going to get that perfect line. So that's why I was saying I put a shape in fast, I blow dry it. If it needs to have a quick polish, I'll hit the ends of it with the quick flat iron. And when I say refinement, so to answer your question, who asked that, refinement is my dry cut. That's Absolutely. What I'm doing, a lot of dry cutting. That's when I'm getting that line razor sharp.
Well, because then think about it. Maybe you can make it look good, but unless it's cut right, it's impossible for your client to make it look good. So it's got to be refined.
It's impossible. And I always like to say this. I love the look of these super geometric precision cuts, but I am under no false pretense that people are walking around wearing the hair that's perfect.
Right.
My whole thing is I need to know that as long as their hair falls into place, it's going to be at a perfect length. So that's, and aesthetically, it's very pleasing and for me. But yeah, I do dry cutting, and if it's past the shoulders, I do mostly dry cutting.
Okay, well, that's great advice. So I know we don't have any more pictures, I don't think, or do we have one more, Stephen? I think we're good on the pictures. Yeah, so, we have another question, then I want to ask you one more. Let's see, right now, what are your favorite styling products for what you're doing? What do you like? What are some go-tos?
All right, so Wella's product line is called IME, and the product called Perfect Me. I use that, and I use Thermal Image, which is a heat protecting spray, on pretty much every single person that I do, because I need to get those bobs or those shapes super, super smooth. Okay. Trilliant by Sebastian is also my go-to, and Push and 9 Light, they get it really, really, really fine. All the shine that I'm putting in these haircuts is Glam Mist by IME, really light shine spray with UV protection, and I don't overproduct hair. I really don't. Okay. I feel like I need a good polisher and I need a good finisher.
Great. So do you use the nozzle on the blow dryer or not? And what's your opinion on that?
Okay, so when I'm doing a flat wrap when flat wrapping, no nozzle. Okay. I know everyone's opinion on it, and I know why they say they don't use one and why they do. The reason I personally don't use a nozzle, especially if it's underneath the occipital bone, is because you're just going to burn the crap out of their head.
Okay.
So I use no nozzle. I'll get it smooth. If you're gonna do a smooth blow dry, or if I'm doing a round brush blow dry, I'm definitely using a
Well,
nozzle.
that's because it focuses the heat, and that's what you need. So that's why I asked you that question,
Exactly.
because I say the same thing, but it's nice when somebody else actually agrees with me. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like everything you're saying is like yes, 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 1980s, back in the 80s, the whole thing, but it doesn't change. Good advice doesn't change over the years. And it's funny, you had a great mentor, obviously.
The best. But the thing is, people need to realize. I mean, if you've been doing hair for 40 years, or if you're just in school right now, I mean, the stuff I'm doing, people did 40 years
That's
before
right. That's right.
me. These are the classic haircuts, and they don't go out of style. There's a reason that they're still around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for sharing with us. We really appreciate it. And if people want to get more, go see you on Instagram. And you guys, if you want to see this video, just go to YouTube and go to Hairdresser Power, and you'll see Josh and many other people. And then Josh, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be chopping this interview up and giving it to you to post on Instagram, the real good nuggets, because you had some really good things that I think we want to share with people. We'll just do little 58-second segments for you guys to pop out there. So be looking for more of Josh on Instagram. And if you want to get education from Josh, or you want to shadow Josh or learn from Josh, they can go on your website and click and get in contact with you, right?
Yeah, I have a website, joshdemarco.com, or just probably go to Instagram. It's at HairDeMarco.
I love it, man. Thanks so much, Josh, and have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. You were great. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.